just finished up a 10-mile Zone 2 run, and one thing I like to do now is consume like something to kind of rehydrate me after that. So I've currently been using Noon, just an effervescent tablet, and it's got a lot of electrolytes and minerals. Find it's a little better cold, so throw a couple ice cubes and about 16 ounces of water. Start that rehydration process. It's been working for me for the last couple months. I don't do it every day, but certainly if it's harder intensity or longer, then I'll throw in one of these. So yeah, easy 10-mile run today, and then start the refeed and rehydrate process. Hey guys, I'm in the kitchen today because I thought I would come to you and talk about nutrition. Nutrition is something that is going to be individual and definitely differ person to person. But I thought that I would share some pointers, some things that I do, why I do certain things, how I'm evolving kind of over the last few years, and how it affects me in my day-to-day life versus my exercise life, and so yeah. So the first thing that I've really kind of been working on lately is just simplifying my nutrition overall, trying to, really focus on just quality instead of all these labels. Currently I'm not trying to eat for weight loss. I'm not trying to eat for muscle gain or fat loss. I'm just really trying to eat for health overall, and I think that that's very important. Most people probably just need to eat for overall health, and that's kind of where I'm at. Even though I exercise every day, and I'm training for a marathon, and then I'll be training for an Ironman after that. I feel generally if I can eat for day-to-day health, then I'm going to do pretty well. So what does that look like for me? That really looks like just eating quality food, eating real food, eating a lot of plants and vegetables and fruits, and then high quality meats to get my protein sources. I'm not tracking my macros. I'm not following protein, fat, and carbs. I'm just trying to be aware of what I eat. So, if I know I ate a good salad, if I had, a smoothie with some high quality ingredients, dinner with the family, and I'm avoiding a lot of the highly processed, refined foods, then ultimately I'm doing pretty good. If I see I'm losing a little weight, or if I don't feel that I ate enough, if I feel real sore, then I'll adjust based on that. But as long as I know I'm just kind of eating, honestly, a lot of the same foods every day, then I feel like I'm doing pretty good. And for the last couple of years, it's just kind of been minor tweaks here and there that have really helped me. So a lot of you know, and maybe you don't know, that a couple of years ago I was diagnosed with celiac disease. And so what that is my body is now autoimmune, and will attack itself and kind of cause harm if I ingest items that have gluten. So gluten is a protein, and it's found in wheat, rye, and barley, which is, an American food. Most of the foods that we have, if they're processed, but otherwise it would be grains. So breads, pastas, oats, those different things. So it's been about 3.5 years, and I am on a strict no gluten diet. So no breads, no pastas, unless we do the gluten-free version. And that was really the start of our get healthier nutritionally journey. We've slowly progressed over time to where now we know how to eat a gluten-free diet in our house. Obviously, I'm the only one that has to be strict on that, so the kids can still have their treats. Kristen can still have her treats. Ultimately, I just have to make sure I don't get sick, because it's not any fun. So the celiac journey has helped us kind of learn to incorporate more fruits and vegetables in our diet, to avoid a lot of the highly processed foods, because of the fact that they can contain gluten, and therefore I can get sick. Once you've simplified your diet, and by that I think I'll just say again, it's eating real food, eating mostly plants, not eating too much, and eating quality sources. So basically fruits, vegetables, meat if you're not vegetarian or vegan, and then where do you get those from? So finding good, local sources, or at least buying the organic if you can. If you can't afford it or money's a problem, that's okay. Still try to get the whole foods from the grocery store, because that's going to be much better for your body overall. I heard one person say if it has a health label on it, you should avoid it, because the things that are actually healthy don't have to label themselves as healthy. Next thing, I think once you've simplified your diet, you should figure out what your goal is. So are you wanting to lose weight? If you're in the gym, are you trying to gain muscle? Do you care about body composition? So fat loss, muscle gain. Are you trying to gain muscle and lose fat? In the endurance world, are you just trying to, be able to recover and do the things daily? And then once you have your goal, you can kind of decide how strict or not strict you're going to have to be. If you are on the weight loss team or the muscle gain team, you probably should be a little more strict than if you're just trying to maintain or eat for overall health. One thing that you can do if you're trying to lose weight or gain muscle is track your macros. So this is protein, fat, and carbohydrate. And I don't think you have to do it forever, but if you really, weigh your food, track it properly for about 7 days, you'll get a really good idea of how you're eating, what you're actually eating, and if you need to make any changes or not. And then, one thing that I've incorporated and tried is intermittent fasting here and there. And I've tried different times of the day, different lengths of fast. I still do it some days if I don't work out or miss a workout, take a rest day. You can cycle that on and off. It's a good weight loss tool, but it's also just a good overall health tool. And it kind of gets you in this thing where you can get away from the I'm starving or I'm hungry all the time, because, if you can go 16 hours without eating, you really find, one, it's not that hard. Two, you actually are in control. And three, during that eating window, you can really focus on what you're eating, make sure you're getting quality. And for me, it's myself, I like to cycle it when I find that I'm off track, because it really makes me focus, get back to having, proper amount of food and really just kind of reset myself. The next thing I was going to say, as far as how to shop to eat healthy, I'm sure you've all heard it. When you go to the grocery store, shop the perimeter. So when you come in, you're going to go to the deli. You might go to the produce section. You'll shop the back wall where the meat is, come up the dairy aisle, out of the store. Now, there may be some things on the inner that you want to go to if you need some, almonds or cashews, or, maybe you have some cereals that you like, some different things. But for the most part, the more you can shop that perimeter of the aisle, that's where you're going to find the healthy foods. You're not going to find all the processed and the boxed and, all the refined sugars, which is what you really want to avoid if you can. Now, this is where, I think that you should get most of your food from there. But, for the most of us, if we're eating for daily health, it's not about being perfect all the time. So if you do have, certain things that you want to have here and there, as long as you're limiting those, you're going to be okay. We have some things like I like to go and get dark chocolate, and we may have some protein bars because they're easy on the go, beef jerky, different things like that. But for the most part, when you're shopping in the grocery store, try to stay on the perimeter, get creative with what you're shopping for, mix up your recipe list, find different books, just kind of stay that way. And that's a good starting point when you go shopping. All right, and then the last thing that I really have today is I don't think you have to find a fad diet to eat well. Now, I think that you certainly can. I think that there's a lot of good ones that have started, and kind of with the marketing and how our society works kind of gone to the wayside. But if it helps you, then certainly pick a fad diet. I think things like the paleo diet, Whole30, intuitive eating, vegetarian, pescatarian. There's all different kinds of things that may or may not work for you. And honestly, when you search for paleo chili, like you're going to find a lot of good recipes. Or if you search for vegetarian brunch ideas, like it's a really good way to find different things to eat. So I'm not saying that I think you should all find this or that fad diet, but I think you should pick three, especially if you're getting started. Pick two or three and try them out for a couple months. If it works for you, stick with it. If it doesn't work for you, try the second one on your list, and so forth until you find, a way of eating that fits your lifestyle. Like I said, for me, we've done several of those. None of them have ever stuck, but it's helped me get to where I am, and I think that those fad diets are fine to help you in the long run for your overall health. Personally, mine probably looks a little more paleo. A lot of vegetarian meals paired with fasting and just general moderate carbohydrate. That's not necessarily something that I worry about, but that's kind of the way that this process has led me over the years. All right, so now that I've kind of gotten the daily nutrition out of the way, I was going to talk about exercise fueling a little differently. So, daily nutrition is what you eat to stay in your general health. It's kind of what you're fueling day to day, whether you exercise or not. I think we should all exercise. I think that it makes you more prepared for work and life overall, and that daily nutrition will support all of that. When you cross over to the realm of kind of more exercising, and what I'll talk about is either a hybrid athlete, so endurance and strength training, or a pure endurance athlete, which should also be strength training. I think this is where the exercise fueling comes into play, and I'm not very good at this. I was better years ago, probably before I actually started eating a little healthier, when I wasn't as worried about it. Now, for the last couple of years, I've really focused on fasted workouts and long time without eating, and really just having that food in my body. And I did low carb for a while, or I guess moderate carb. And so as I go longer in this endurance over the next year, I'm trying to see how I can do with this, because I think obviously nutrition in a 4 or 6 plus hour endurance day is very important, or your body is eventually going to shut down and bonk. And the last thing I want to do is bonk on a training run, and the last thing I want to do is get to race day and not be able to perform because I haven't properly prepared my nutrition. So the first thing is pre-nutrition. So pre-workout nutrition, ideally 45 minutes, maybe up to 90 minutes before your workout. Are you going to eat anything? And for me, if it's first thing in the morning, I typically am not going to eat anything, especially if it's 60 minutes or less, or if the intensity is low. I'm just at 5 o'clock in the morning eating something and then getting into a run or a bike ride within 10 or 20, 30 minutes. I'm not going to have time. I would rather sleep 30 minutes, get up and do the workout fasted, and then I'll just consume after. But with the longer day or race day, I'm going to have to figure this out. So what I've been doing on the weekends is I'm waking up early. I don't have to train quite as early, so I can have a little bit of food, and I'm having a mixture of some protein with some carbs and just a little bit of fat. So maybe like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, a banana and something, protein bar if I'm just grabbing something pretty quick. And I'm just trying different things. Some people will do oatmeal. Some people are brave and can do like a full breakfast. But that's it, 45 minutes to 90 minutes before, and then that's going to be your pre-workout. I'm looking, I hate to say in macros, but what we're looking at is probably 20 grams of protein, 10 to 20 grams of protein, 20 to 30 grams of carbohydrate, 10 grams of fat. And I'm playing with the different foods that will settle on my stomach to then allow me to go run. And these are 2+ hour days is what I'm looking at on those days. And then once you're in that workout, you have intra workout or during the exercise fueling. This is where, depending on the intensity and how long it's going to be, you're probably going to want to go with a carb source. If it's low intensity, you can probably do real food, and it depends on the event. So on running, I've been taking some chews or some electrolyte sugar drink. So I use Scratch, and I'm trying this Noon product, and I've got a few different things that you can do. This is where people do their goos or their chews, or I've seen people have candy and all different things. But the reason that you do that is you will deplete your glycogen levels, your sugar levels, pretty quickly. And the longer you go, the harder it is, or the longer you go, the more you're going to do that. So having readily available, easily digestible, and consumable sugar is going to keep you going long term. This is where a lot of people think that if you're a fat metabolizer, you're actually going to do well, because at low intensity, your body has more stored fat and you can go a little bit longer. If you want to look into that, we can dive into that in another video. But ultimately for me, I'm going to consume more liquid, or goos or chews on a run. On the bike, I will go more solid food, so bananas and bars and that kind of thing, just because it's a little bit easier to chew and swallow and digest on the bike than it is on the run. Working out, I typically am, if I'm strength training, it's an hour or less. I'm not consuming anything during a strength training session. And then lastly, your post-workout meal, and I do believe it should be a meal and not just something pre-packaged or processed. I aim to get that in an hour. Know that you'll get benefits anywhere from 2 to 4 and maybe even beyond that. And this is where the better food you can consume, or the more full of a meal, the better. So I have included breakfast again. So a strength train until about 7. I'm eating breakfast somewhere around 8 o'clock. And lately that's been either eggs and toast, or a piece of fruit, or a Greek yogurt parfait with some grain-free granola and cinnamon and maybe a little bit of honey and some berries. It may be a smoothie if I'm in a hurry. Just different things there. So on the weekends, if it's a lunch run, then I just come in and I just have lunch or dinner. But that post-workout meal, try to get it really 1 to 2 up to 4 hours before, and then just really focus on quality in that case. And, these are things, again, I'm working on them. Exercise fueling becomes probably more important once you cross more than an hour training a day. If I'm training an hour or less a day, I'm not as concerned about it. The only thing I'm really going to do if it's an hour or less is get that post-workout meal. When things start to go longer, then I'm going to focus more on the pre and intra-workout food. All right, so that's what I've got. You can play with this. I think there's a lot of information and different perspectives on this out there, but I still believe simplifying your daily nutrition, focusing on that post-workout meal will put you in the right direction to reap a lot of benefits from the way you eat. Food is fuel, food is medicine, food is enjoyable, food is huge. The closer you get to eating whole foods, real food, prepared naturally and not processed, the better your health is going to be. Now, I'm not saying you can't have, some Halloween candy here or dessert there, but you really should limit that. We live in a society of excess, and that has hurt a lot of people. I see it daily at my work, and I really just want people to know that through this general guidelines of nutrition, you can improve your overall health and happiness. And if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. This was a quick kind of nutrition guide, like overview, and just some of the things that I do daily and some things I plan to do going forward. If you've liked the video, hit the like button. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. I've really, nutrition is one of those things that's kind of hard to talk about, and everybody has a different opinion of it. But, I think if the more of us that just get out there and try to do the best we can, then the better we'll be as a society overall. And so, I want all of us to be as healthy as possible. So I hope you guys have a good week. It's been fun sharing the information with you. Again, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.